So in lieu of the spring cleanses that I usually do, because I just don't feel like taking anything else away right now. Feels like that's not quite right. So I've been adding chants in the morning. And that seems to work really well for me, is to kind of wake up and have something to look forward to right before I get out of bed. So maybe you might want to think about starting to add something, another ritual that will kind of help you transition to our little bit different days. Okay, so Mom, you just came into the room. I don't know if you have 2 blocks, but we're going to set up with the heart bench. So I'll explain how that works again. If you're not already on the heart bench, we've got 2 blocks. And of course, if you don't have blocks, you can always use a big pillow or just a blanket. So go ahead, and this lower block is going to hit right in the middle of the back. And you might take a moment to figure this out for yourself. And then the upper block is going to be right underneath the back of the head so that there's some space for the neck. And the knees are bent. And we'll just start here, allowing the spine to drop down, taking the arms nice and comfortably wide. You can close the eyes. Or if it feels better, you could windshield wiper your knees back and forth for a moment. And then maybe lift the tailbone and settle it back down so that there's a nice amount of space. You should be able to get at least one hand underneath the back. And here is where we will begin our practice. So take your time to wiggle. And we're just going to do a nice brief visualization to connect with the body this morning. So as you're allowing yourself to drop down, whether it's just onto the floor, if you've got the lift to the chest, we are having the feet planted to start with. I know some of us like to extend out. I'm going to just ask that for right now, that you have the feet planted. You can wiggle through the toes and moving and shaking as much as you need to, and then begin to settle down. Feel free to close the eyes. Feel free to rock the neck back and forth until you find a comfortable place for the skull. And just get some of those excess wiggles out. So the eyes could be closed, head nice and heavy, feet planted in our heart bench. If you don't have the blocks, that's okay. You can just be lying on the back, as I said. So we'll start with just a soft inhale and exhale to find where your breath is being carried right now. Feeling the rise and fall of the chest. We want to have the chin slightly heavier, the jaw away from the skull. And just notice if you've got the tongue suction cupped to the roof of the mouth. See if you can release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. So we're creating a heaviness in the mouth to just give a little bit more openness to the throat and to the air passageways. And as we watch the rise and fall of the belly, noticing the cool air as it begins to move through the nostrils into the lungs and back out. At any time the heart bench or the lift in the chest isn't working for you anymore, go ahead and remove it. So just take another 3 or 4 mindful breaths, just aware of the body breathing. Allowing any noises to pass through our soundscape. Just allowing them to be. And it's okay if your attention gets drawn away. Just come back to the sound and sensation of breath. And then we'll start to visualize the feet planted on the floor, a nice connecting light from the soles of the feet on your inhale, traveling up to the knees. And then back from the knees through the soles of the feet. Exhaling. Inhale, draw that light up from the soles of the feet over between the toes to the knees. And back down. So we're using this visualization to draw energy and light up to the knee and down, aware of the shin, the sensations on the skin, the weight of the feet on the floor. Connecting that white light from the ground up into the body. And then on your next inhale, we'll move all the way from the soles of the feet up the legs to the hip points. Starting to visualize that white light energizing, connecting. Noticing the weight of the clothes on the skin, any warmth or coolness. Up to the hip points on the right side and the left side. And then start to work up the torso from the feet all the way up the torso just to the pit of the throat. So the whole torso and legs. And we'll spend a couple extra breaths here so we can connect to the front side of the body, the left and right, the back side of the body. Soles of the feet, legs, torso. Nice, long, deep inhales and long exhales. Energizing white light starting to fill the body with the inhale. And pulse out back to the earth with the exhale. Here, maybe becoming a little bit extra aware of the points of the body connecting to the floor as we add in the arms. Working up from the fingertips to the shoulders, just to the pit of the throat, whole body. It's just the whole body filling with white energizing light. And begin to add the face the head and up to the crown of the head. White light filling the entire body. Noticing the light as it seeps between the toes, the fingers, behind the ears, over the eyelids, in the armpits and groin. No. And then slowly you can rock the knees to one side. Move off of your blocks if you have blocks and just place them off to the side. And then roll down onto your back. And once you're on your back, feel free to extend the legs as maybe you feel a cooling sensation along the spine. Staying with the connection of breath and body. Take another 3 or 4 breaths here. And then you'll slowly bring the right knee into the chest. And if you'd like to slide that left foot in, go right ahead. As you either interlace the fingers behind the right thigh, or if you have your strap, use your strap. You can bend and straighten the leg a couple of times. And then we'll ultimately extend up through the sole of that right foot. Maybe point and flex or draw some circles at the toe in one direction. And then switch directions. So if you're like me and it's just kind of waking up, you've got a little bend in the knee, so you could pulse the leg back and forth a few times to try and get a little bit more length. If the shoulders are starting to curl up, try and draw them back. And that's when your strap might be useful if you're finding that the shoulders are curling up. We'll stay here, reaching from the sole of the foot. Nice long deep breaths. Then go ahead and let that right leg come down. Pause for a moment, maybe swish the hips, and then come to stillness again. Maybe noticing a little bit of length along the right side. And you'll slide the left foot in, hug the left knee into the chest, roll through the ankle, using the strap if it's appropriate for you, switch directions with your roll. Maybe sliding the right foot in as you interlace the fingers behind the left leg and press the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling and back. So staying here for about 5 to 7 breaths. Maybe pointing and flexing the foot, or again, pulsing until you feel that ultimate reach and extension along the back side of the leg. Right leg nice and heavy, hips heavy. And the left leg will come down to meet the right. Pause for a moment, neutral body. And we'll slide both heels in. Hug both knees into the chest, keeping the feet separated. Big inhale, and on your exhale, crunch up towards the knees and inhale, roll down. Start to get some movement in the spine as you exhale up and inhale down. Going at your breath pattern and pace. Maybe holding on to the backs of the legs. And we want to keep the neck nice and long, so rather than curling the chin in, see if you can keep at least a little inch or so space along the throat. A few more. Last one. Head, neck, and shoulders will come down, and we'll take the legs to a tabletop position. And we'll inhale, reach the arms above the head, and exhale, tap the left hand behind you, right heel, inhale left. The legs stay at their 90-degree angle, and we're just tapping. Trying to touch the heel and the thumb at the same time. Just 2 more each side. And then we'll plant the feet and take the arms nice and wide. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider than the mat. Let the knees travel right and left. And we're going to roll all the way off to the right, so that left arm's going to come above the body. And then peel the left arm open, twisting the chest towards the sky. And if that feels like it's a little much, then just stay on the right side, softening the right side into the floor. Feel free to look back and forth or nod the head. Maybe take that left arm a little bit wider, whatever feels better for your body. I like to keep it above my head, so I'm getting the full stretch from the outside, even the outside of my left knee and left foot up towards and through the arm. We'll stay here for another 2 breaths. Noticing if there's tension in the glutes, try and soften. And then go ahead, roll back to center. We'll windshield wiper the knees. And then roll to your second side all the way to the left. And peel the right arm open. Find a spot that's good for you on this side. Couple more breaths here. And then unwind back to center. We're going to heel toe the feet as wide as the mat and let the knees knock together. And just take the arms wide. So give the low back a rest for a moment. Connecting back with the sensation of the feet planted on the ground. Maybe bringing the visualization of the white light filling the body with energy. And then we're going to press ourselves up to a seat. So however is best for you to get up to a seat. And if you don't have a strap, that's okay. But if you have your strap, I like to hold on to the jingly part. So once you're up, we'll place the strap over the lap and let the chin drop to the chest. And then take a nice big shoulder roll to really slide the shoulder blades down and the shoulders out of the ears. And then we'll rock the right ear to the right shoulder. And at this point, you could tent the fingertips on either side. Dogs are being particularly weird this morning. And chin to chest and left ear to left shoulder. And I noticed when I did that, that I must have some tension in my shoulder because my shoulders started to slide up. So I'm going to roll them back down out of the way. And chin to chest. We'll travel the head back to the right. This time plant the right hand and sweep off to the side. And move that shoulder out of the way. Let the head be heavy. And then bring your left hand down, chin to chest, second side. Inhale up. The right arm down, chin to chest, and now we'll pick up our strap. And as you pick the strap up, we're going to extend the arms out in front. You'll see that my thumbs are capturing the strap. Hold on to the jingly part. And I'm flexing the palms forward like I'm saying stop. And then on your next inhale, you're going to raise the arms above the head and start to look up. And exhale, chin to chest, arms back in front. We'll inhale up and exhale, chin to chest. Keep reaching the palms forward, stretching. Reaching out, and this can become a little bit tiresome right away. We're trying to peel the fingernails back towards the forearms. Just do one more. You can bring your strap down, and we're gonna give ourselves a nice big hug and let the chin drop down again. Notice which arm is on top as you inhale. Open the chest, open the arms, exhale, switch whichever arm was on top, chin down. Taking the hands back to our strap. We'll inhale, reach the arms up. So again, that flex, reach the arms up. And then bring your left arm to the ear. So you'll notice that I'm attempting not to bring the head to the arm, but keep my spine nice and straight and just bring the arm to the ear. And you may right away feel this all the way up into the armpit as you slowly guide the right hand behind you a little bit more. So just go to a point that you can hold it. Still trying to flex through the palms, peeling the fingernails back towards the forearms. And when it becomes difficult, it's really easy to squeeze the shoulder blades together or collapse back. Really press down into the sits bones, reach up through the crown of the head. Again, if you're not using the strap, you'll find that this is still challenging. And then we'll bring that right arm back, switch sides, try to keep the spine nice and steady still. And this must be my tighter side because it really has a big sensation quite immediately. So I'm going to unwind a little bit. And breathe here. Back to center, and we'll bring the strap down. And even though it seems like it might not feel good, we're going to take eagle arm, wrap one arm underneath the other. If that is too much, then just hold on to the shoulders again and nod the head back and forth or look left and right. Maybe make some circles one way and the other and switch. Again, maybe look left and right. Make some circles. And then from here, Well, take the legs wide, unlace the arms, take the legs wide, place the strap off to the side. We're gonna work in the side waist a little bit more. So your legs don't necessarily have to be super wide, and you do have your blocks. If your legs are naturally popping up, you've got some space underneath the knee, you can take a block, and you see that I have it just the corner supporting underneath the back of the leg. So that's a good option. So we move the flesh away from the sits bones. Gotcha, you're in the way, Bubba. And then just notice that the toes and the knees are facing the ceiling. You can kind of shake the legs for a moment, move back and forth, move the flesh away again from the sits bones, and then we'll place the right hand right in front. And I really like this stretch because it's very subtle for the that quadratus labrum, the middle of the back, a little bit lower and off to the side on the left and right. We'll take your left arm out to the side and then feet it palm facing up underneath, just slide and glide underneath. The elbows will come towards one another, and you're just gonna let the head drop. And then notice if you clenched in your thighs, and you can kind of see in my floofy pants here, where you're clenching what it would look like. Try and keep those legs nice and loose. And maybe if you'd like to, you're crawling a little bit further forward. And this is a pretty subtle stretch for the mid-back. Go ahead and walk yourself back up, and we'll switch sides. Left arm in front, palm facing up, glide and slide underneath the gate of the arm, let the head drop. If you're not getting a big sensation, that's totally fine. We don't want to be pulling any muscles. Just get a little bit of stretch before we go deeper into that muscle in a minute. Press yourself up and back. And assist the legs closed. Shake the legs back and forth. And we'll keep the right leg extended off to the side slightly and slide that left foot in. Again, great place for a block if your knee is popping up. And just again, some flesh away so you can feel the two sits points coming down. And we're going to turn towards the right leg and crawl forward. If you wanted to, you could take the block for the forehead. You needed a little bit of support there. We'll stay here for another 5 breaths. Just using the weight of the upper body to come forward. Again, noticing if you're tense in the thigh, if you can soften that muscle. So now you might be feeling the quadratus labrum a little bit more. The low back. We'll stay in our forward fold and just crawl the fingertips around so that we're reaching towards the knee. Go ahead and slide your right hand towards the right leg, and you can maybe slide it in a little bit if you'd like to, but we're going to press into the floor and sweep the left arm up and over. If this top shoulder is feeling like it too much, you can take the hand to the low back and continue to peel open. Nice heavy head. Press into the floor to lift the torso. And just go ahead and switch sides. Remembering Two sides of the body are different, so if you need a block or some support for this side, go ahead and take it. Take your time to get properly comfortable in the position since we're holding it for a while. Chest towards the extended leg, come forward. Follow the next two inhales and exhales. And go ahead and crawl the fingertips around to towards the knee. Twisting slightly. And we'll take and sweep that left hand towards the left leg, press down into the floor. Take the right arm up and over. Rolling down the shoulder out of the ear. Press down. Inhale up. Extend both legs out in front again, and we'll wiggle and shake. And get deeper into the hip. We're in our pinwheel pose. Right shin folds in front, and then you're going to take that left foot behind you. And I'll turn a little bit more. You should be able to see that we've got a zigzag pattern here. And if one hip is coming up quite a bit, that's okay. We're going to start with the left hand on the left hip and get some motion going. Rocking back and forth. Rolling through the hip. We're going to match this. We're going to stay in this shape for a little bit. Doing a couple of different things to strengthen the finer, subtler, deep hip flexors. Once you've done maybe 8 or 10 times, we're going to keep that left hip dropped down and then crawl forward over the right shin. So this is a version of pigeon pose, a really great alternative if you're not someone that likes to do full pigeon. And then slowly from the crawling forward to the shin, start to walk and twist the torso, trying to keep that back hip where it is. And here you can kind of play around with some twists. If you like that feeding of the arm underneath the gate of the other arm, you could play with that. Reaching underneath, getting a little bit deeper twist. Maybe looking back and forth. And wherever you are, we're going to walk the hands back around in front of the shin. So here's where it gets a little bit strange. We're going to lift that back heel off of the ground. You'll be like, it can take a minute to connect with that motion in the body, but we're going to lift and drop it back down. So we're hinging at the knee, and you should immediately feel some stuff happening in that back hip. If it takes a moment to connect with this motion in the body, it's okay, especially if you've never done it before. Going for about 10. Just take 1 or 2 more. And if your foot isn't coming up as high as mine, that's fine, of course. Okay, we're going to keep that back leg down, and now flex the front foot, and you might have to walk yourself back or forward a little bit more we're trying to lift, and I'll just move my hand out of the way, lift the whole leg up towards the chest. Little flex in the ankle as you lift up. Again, if you haven't done this before, if it's been a while, it can be a nice little brain challenge to connect with this motion in the body. Going for 10, maybe 3 or 4 more. And if you only got one, that's great. And then from here, we're going to keep the feet where they are. Take the hands behind you. I need to move my block out of the way. As you just move the knees, so we're transitioning left and right rather than rotating from the feet. We're now rotating from the upper body. So once you've gone, maybe once more, and then you could just, from where you are, you might just want to shift, and now you'll have your left shin forward and you'll be in that pinwheel pose. I'm going to just scoot my body around so that I can still be facing forward. Okay. So now we have our left shin forward, right shin back, hand to the hip as we rotate back and forth. Again, this side of the body is going to function a little bit differently than the other side of the body. So make whatever arrangements, changes, support if you need a blankie underneath the hips. Okay, and then from here, we're going to come forward over that left shin. Reach forward. Staying here for about 5 breaths. And then crawling the fingertips around, so we're twisting. Maybe staying there, again, moving the hips back and forth, or if you liked this, feeding the arm underneath, go right ahead, get a little bit deeper twist. Notice how that changes and affects the muscles in the back. And we'll come back forward, walk the hands up. Here's where we'll flex the back foot and start to lift just the shin. See that the knee is still connected. I can feel this a little bit more on this hip than the other one. Maybe 1 or 2 more. And then we'll drop the hip down. Flex the front foot. Again, maybe come forward or back as you lift that leg up towards the chest. Two or three more. And then we'll keep the feet where they are and shift your hips back and forth. A little massage those muscles that we were just working. And go ahead and roll all the way around and forward onto your stomach. Make a little pillow with the stacked hands for the forehead, and wiggle the tailbone. Look left and right. And take a moment to feel comfortable putting all this pressure on the belly. Another great time to connect to our visualization, that white light. Inhaling, drawing up the body, exhaling through the feet. Or now that we're on our belly, maybe you want to play with visualizing up through the navel and back out. We'll stay here for another 3 rounds of breath. Nope. And then move into our Sphinx pose by bringing the elbows underneath, stacked underneath the shoulders. You can let the head be heavy. Take the arms as wide as you need to support the upper body. Plant the hands and we'll inhale, peel the head up, and exhale, curl under a few times just to get that motion of reaching the sternum forward. Working in the upper spine. And then come back to center and just look left and right. You should have enough space in the neck. It should feel comfortable to be able to look behind you. A little bit deeper twist as you look. Trying to look for the heel behind you on the right and left. And if you want to stay looking off to one side for a moment, go ahead. And then it'll be up to you. We're going to engage in hug all the muscles of the right leg, pointing the toe, and then draw the heel to the hip. Ooh. And you might, like me, get a Charlie horse. That's why I had that water right there. If it's too much to have this big bend in the back, then you just come forward. We're still hugging, another 2 breaths. And release, maybe needing to wiggle the tailbone or windshield wiper the legs. Second side, hug all the muscles to the bone, the left leg, right side of the body passive, and drawing that heel to the hip. Oof. There you go, maybe. Finally, took a couple of tries. One more breath. And let the left leg come down, wiggle the tailbone. Maybe look left and right. So if you feel like that heel to the hip is pretty far and you have your strap, you'll take your strap close and swing the right arm behind you and strap the foot. But of course, if you don't have a strap and you're wearing long pants, or if you've got socks on, you could use the socks. We're going to draw the heel to the hip, slide the left forearm underneath the chest, and hug the heel all the way to the sits bone. This is a quad stretch, which means that the back muscles are very passive. We're trying to get that front side of the leg stretched. Open up those channels there. And you can ditch the strap, come back down, wiggle the tailbone, look back and forth. And then that right forearm underneath the chest, draw the left heel in, and draw the heel to the hip. You can release, come on back down. Just see that there isn't too much to your right and left. We're gonna open up the chest and arm pigeon. So if you're able to get a nice big wingspan, go right ahead. And if the arms need to be cactus, that's fine. Just be mindful that the palms are facing down here on both sides. And you're going to keep the right arm where it is. Roll to the right side, so you'll slide the left hand, roll to the right, and step the left foot behind the right leg. You can walk the back arm up or down, so I'll show you what it looks like if you're not familiar what it looks like from the other side. You can walk that arm up or down. And then just go ahead and switch sides. Chin is tucked. Roll back onto your belly. And take the hands to either side of the side waist and press down into the floor. Just lift the chest lightly. Elbows are tucking, shoulders out of the ears, Bhujangasana. Kind of like you're trying to pull the chest through the gate of the arms. And then come on back down. And forehead can come down, palms up. And this time either with the hands on the floor, but we're going to engage in the legs. Point the toes, again, hugging all the muscles to the bone. Press into the floor. Inhale and lift. And you may be able to hover the hands. My elbows are trying to reach back to the toes. And exhale to come down, curl the toes under, press into the heels. We're getting a lengthening through the backs of the ankles. And press into the floor, inhale up. Notice if your heels want to splay out to the side, see if you can, as if you're hugging an imaginary ball between the heels. And then from here, we'll let the legs become passive, knees drop to the floor, and push yourself back into a child's pose. You're more than welcome to stay with the hips towards the heels or shift your weight to all fours. So you reach the right arm out to the side, palm facing up this time, and I'll demonstrate. As you drop down into the shoulder, or thread the needle or reaching under the bed pose, whatever you want to call it. Really trying to weight the shoulder and not the head, so you should be able to move the head around. And then go ahead and switch sides. Press into the floor to lift. Switch sides. Palm facing up. Slide and reach. The hand back as you press yourself up. And from our all fours, go ahead and find your block. So you swing the legs around. rolling down onto the back. And the block is going to be at its medium level here as you slide it underneath the low back. If that feels like it's too high, then just rotate it down. And if you don't have a block and you have a blanket, you could put a blanket underneath the low back. We're going to hug the right knee in. And rather than trying to find a lift in the chest, actually letting the body melt down towards the floor so that the sacrum is getting a little bit more space. So use the weight of the arms to draw the right knee in. If it feels better for you, you could extend the left leg. That can be quite a pull on the groin, so if you feel like it's pulling at all, just keep the foot bent. Excuse me, the knee bent. The body melt down. And then we'll switch our grip, just like we did at the top of class. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the leg. Reach the right leg towards the ceiling, the foot up. Soften. And then we'll get a little bit more motion. You can take the hands down as you just lower and lift that right leg about 5 or 6 times. And we'll plant the right foot back down. And you may need to move and readjust the low back block. You start to kind of smush and compress left knee into the chest. Soften the weight of the body down. Hug the knee in. And maybe play with extending out through the right leg or not. And then we'll switch the grip. Left leg up. Take another breath here. And the arms will come down. You'll lower and lift this leg. Once or twice more. And then from here, both feet down, and we'll have a supported bridge pose. If you need to move the block or lower it, go right ahead. And then press into the floor with the feet to lift the hips. Slide your block out of the way if it's there. Curl down, heel toe the feet as wide as the mat, and let the knees come to touch. So you may want to end here as we transition into a few moments coming back to breath and visualization. Or if you have a blanket and you want to cover yourself with a blanket as you extend the legs, take your time to set yourself up very comfortably. If you need an extra twist, take a twist. With the eyes closed. And come back to the sensation of the breath moving through the body. And you can take the hands onto the belly or the chest. And we'll just go through some sensations in the body. So start to scan and notice where you're feeling cool air and where you're feeling warmth. Notice if you feel any constriction on the skin. Notice the weight of the body on the floor. Become aware of light filtering behind the eyelids, the weight of the eyelids on the eyeballs, the weight of the eyeballs in the skull. Notice any taste in the mouth, the heaviness of the tongue, saliva, the weight of the teeth. Drawing your attention to sounds. See if you can listen for the furthest sound away. And then slowly start to bring your awareness of sound closer and closer until you're just listening to the sound of your breath. Listening for any sounds in the guts, any sounds your body is just automatically making. Maybe even hearing the sound of your heartbeat. And anything you can smell. Until you come to the sensation just of the breath traveling through the body. Staying with the sensation and awareness of breath. And we'll count down 5 breaths. And then when you get all the way down to 1, either stay just as you are for as long as you can, or as you get down to 1, you'll start to maybe take a full body stretch. Point and flex the feet, work through the wrists, the ankles, maybe look left and right. And if you'd like to, you can press yourself up to a seat. Then once you've come up to a seat, again, maybe a full body stretch, come back and forth, a little twist. I'll take the arms nice and wide, big inhale, and exhale, wrap the arms around yourself, chin to chest. Another inhale, open, take that second arm, give yourself a nice big hug. I'll slide the hands to heart center. 1 deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Thanking yourself for coming to practice. I'll take that sensation of gratitude and think of one thing that you are grateful for since this morning. Maybe it was coffee or snuggles with a dog or kitty. And then something that you're looking forward to, maybe it's today or in the next couple of days, but keep it pretty soon. And then envision one person that maybe you haven't seen for a while that you're grateful for. Have a great rest of your day. Stay healthy and well, be as kind as you can, and know that you are loved. Thank you.